Welcome to Roll Credits, where movie lovers get the trivia they didn't know they needed. This podcast was created with help from AI tools, so double-check any quotes before you drop trivia at your next movie night. Today we're stepping into Backrooms, a nightmare built from empty hallways, fluorescent lights, and one of the internet's most unsettling horror concepts. How did a creepypasta become a major film project? Let's find out.
It's honestly such a wild journey.
It really is. And for you listening today, our mission is to basically tear down the drywall on this movie. We've pulled together this massive stack of sources, interviews, VFX breakdowns, reviews.
Right, all focused on this huge A24 film.
Exactly. We want to extract the behind-the-scenes secrets, the production trivia, and just the deep psychological insights that took this from a viral internet anomaly to a massive Hollywood phenomenon.
Yeah, and to really get why this worked on such a massive scale, we have to look at the baseline, right? Like, why did this specific flavor of internet horror go viral in the first place?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we all know the infamous 4chan post from 2019, right?
Right, that slightly blurry, weirdly angled shot of the empty mono yellow office space.
Which, fun fact, actually turned out to be a 2003 photo of a Wisconsin furniture store.
Yeah, which is just so bizarre to think about. But what people often miss is the actual the evolutionary biology behind why that image works.
Well, wait, I get why a low-res photo of an empty hallway is creepy. There's that term, right? Canopsia.
Exactly. Canopsia.
Right, where it's like the hyper-empty atmosphere of a place that's usually full of people, like an abandoned mall or school after hours.
It feels like an undead space, yeah.
Yeah. But I have to push back a little on the whole premise. Like, wait, so it's just empty rooms?
Basically, yeah.
Isn't a monster chasing you inherently scarier than just, yellow wallpaper and moist carpet?
You'd think so, right? But the director, Kane Parsons, he actually brought this really specific evolutionary biology perspective to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Think about your nervous system. Humans are basically these highly advanced threat detection machines.
Right, we're always scanning for danger.
Exactly. Our brains need a constant stream of variable input to function. Changing temperatures, shifting light, varying sounds.
Okay, so what happens in the back rooms?
Well, you're dropped into an environment of total sensory uniformity. The temperature never changes. The fluorescent lights just hum endlessly.
So your brain is basically starved of data.
Yes. And in sensory deprivation, your brain's pattern recognition software basically glitches out. It starts finding noise in the wallpaper.
Oh, wow.
It actively contrives profound meaning out of absolutely nothing. The emptiness itself is the monster.
Wow, that is so unsettling. Just your own brain poisoning you because there's nothing else to do.
Right, and to take an abstract concept like that and actually build a narrative out of it, that requires a very specific kind of visionary.
Which brings us to Kane Parsons, who is, frankly, just a prodigy.
Oh, completely.
I mean, he's 16 years old during the COVID lockdowns, just messing around on his laptop.
Well, he started even earlier than that. In middle school, he was already mastering complex 3D software.
Like Blender and After Effects, right?
Yeah, he was making these incredibly intricate fan edits for Attack on Titan. So he was basically teaching himself how to blend digital assets with live-action footage.
And then at 16, he drops the Backrooms found footage on YouTube.
Which perfectly simulated a 1990s VHS camcorder.
And it absolutely exploded, like 78 million views.
It resonated so hard because it perfectly captured the isolation everyone was feeling during the pandemic.
Right. And then Hollywood basically kicked his door down. He becomes A24's youngest ever director at just 20 years old.
It's unheard of. And what's really fascinating is how mature his approach was. He deliberately chose to avoid what we call lore bloat.
Oh, yeah, the internet wikis for this were insane.
Thousands of levels, pool rooms, infinite hotels, specific monsters with rulebooks.
But he ignored all of that, right? He just focused on a mysterious corporation called the Async Research Institute.
Exactly. He kept it totally stripped down.
But wait, avoiding lore bloat is kind of like resisting the urge to overseason a dish. Like, didn't the fans want all those crazy levels? Weren't they mad?
Some were, sure. But Parsons approached this as hard sci-fi.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you have 1,000 magical levels and name monsters, it becomes a fantasy funhouse. It's like a video game.
Oh, I see. You just level up.
Right. But by restricting the lore, he made the Backrooms into this incidental, terrifying force of nature. It doesn't care about you.
It's just a black hole.
Exactly. And preserving that ambiguity is what makes it scary for a general audience, not just Reddit superfans.
That makes total sense. But taking that vision from a teenager's laptop to a multi-million-dollar practical set, that is a massive leap.
A huge leap. And you see it right away in the production design and the casting. The movie set in 1990 right there.
Yeah, and the main character, Clark, is played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, who is not exactly a teenager running from a slasher.
No, he's this depressed, middle-aged furniture store owner.
Yeah.
A failed architect.
And he no-clips in his basement and ends up in the maze, followed by his therapist, Dr. Mary Klein, played by Renee Reinsve.
Which is such a brilliant choice. Parsons deliberately chose middle-aged characters instead of teens.
Why is that? Just to subvert expectations?
Partially. But think about it. Youth is malleable. Teenagers adapt to crazy situations quickly.
Oh, true.
But a middle-aged person has spent decades solidifying their beliefs about how reality and physics work.
So when you drop them into an impossible maze...
The psychological friction is immense. Their reality literally shatters. It's so much more cinematic to watch that specific breakdown.
I love that. And speaking of the maze, they actually built it. They didn't just throw the actors in a green screen room.
They built a 30,000 square foot practical set across 4 sound stages in Vancouver.
Which is so big that I read crew members were literally getting lost inside of it.
Oh, it was a nightmare. They had to put up navigation markers just so people could find the bathrooms.
That's hilarious and terrifying. But building it wasn't easy. There's that crazy story about the ceiling tiles.
Right, the acoustic drop ceiling. It's an iconic part of the Backrooms aesthetic.
Yeah, you can't do the Backrooms without that ugly ceiling.
Exactly.
Huh.
Initially, to save weight and money, they used thin wood painted to look like ceiling tiles.
Makes sense.
But right before shooting, the heat from the massive stage lights caused the fake wood to warp and bend.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it totally ruined the illusion. You could see straight up into the studio rafters.
So what did they do?
They had to scramble at the last minute and install actual, real, heavy acoustic tiles.
Yeah, that must have been a logistical nightmare.
It was, but it actually made the space sound perfectly dead and claustrophobic, just like a real office.
Sometimes those accidents are the best things for a movie.
Totally. And they could only pivot like that because Parsons had prevised the entire thing so perfectly.
Right, the pre-visualization. He literally built the entire movie shot by shot in Blender first, right?
Down to the millimeter. He handed the 3D files directly to the art department.
Okay, so he essentially built the entire movie in a video game engine first, like pre-building a house in The Sims before calling the contractors.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
But wait, I have to ask, if every single camera angle and wall is locked in months in advance, doesn't that stifle the actors? Like, where's the room to actually perform?
You'd assume it would be super restrictive, right?
Yeah.
But it actually freed them up completely.
Really? How so?
Because Parsons already knew exactly where every wall and camera was going to be. They didn't have to waste hours on set figuring out technical blocking.
Oh, I get it. The technical side was 100% solved.
Exactly. It was a stress-tested sandbox.
Yeah.
Chiwetel and Renee had total freedom to just explore the psychological breakdown of their characters without worrying about missing their marks.
That is such a smart way to work. Now, once they had this physical space, they had to capture that specific analog horror vibe on camera.
Right. The visual effects team, Edward J. Douglas and Calvin Roman, they basically had to reverse engineer the original 2003 photo.
Meaning they had to figure out the exact lens distortion and that sickly yellow glow.
And the specific pattern of the carpet, yeah. They made it completely indistinguishable from reality.
But the part that really fascinated me was how they shot the actual camcorder footage.
The found footage scenes with the character Bobby.
Yeah. But if the whole point is that it's an internet video, isn't it cheating to use a massive cinema camera and perfectly matched VFX?
What do you mean?
Like, why not just buy a real 1990s camcorder off eBay and hand it to the actor?
Well, they tried looking into that. But if you blow up real VHS footage onto a 50-foot IMAX screen, you don't get dread. You get severe motion sickness.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would look pretty terrible.
It falls apart entirely. So the medium really is the message here.
How did they do it then?
They used a high-end cinema camera hidden just off-axis from a prop camcorder the actor was holding.
Oh, wow. So they captured a pristine image first.
Exactly. Then the VFX team digitally choked it down. They added the chromatic aberration, the tracking lines.
So the illusion of a VHS tape is actually more effective than a real one.
For a modern theatrical audience, absolutely.
That's incredible. And we can't talk about the Backrooms without talking about the entities.
Oh, the life form. It's terrifying.
It really is. It looks so uncanny and digital, stalking through the halls, but it's not pure CGI.
No, it's actually played practically by Robert Bobrovsky.
Who is a 7'7" former basketball player.
Right, and because his proportions are so unique, his natural stride just breaks the human brain's understanding of biomechanics.
Like seeing a guy that tall in an office with an 8-foot drop ceiling, it just looks inherently wrong.
And it looks glitchy. It feels like a stop-motion monster, but it's just pure unsettling physics.
And what really glues that dread together is the sound design.
Oh, the score is brilliant. Parsons co-scored it with Ido Van Bremen.
And they didn't do a traditional orchestral thing at all. It's just this insidious hum beneath the fluorescent lights.
They really weaponized deafening silence. It built so much tension.
It does. Which kind of brings us to the actual meaning of the maze. Like, what is this place in the context of the film?
Well, the film frames the Backrooms as this cosmic storage drive for human memory.
Right, the rooms look like bad copies of bad copies.
Like an AI trying to replicate an image 100 times and slowly degrading.
Yeah. Doors leading nowhere, chairs melted into walls. And this directly ties into Clark's character arc, because he's a failed architect.
Exactly. He spent his life trying to build structure and meaning, and he feels like he failed.
So when he gets to the Backrooms, a place with no human expectation,
He finds comfort in it. He essentially chooses the purgatory of the Backrooms to escape his real-world failures.
Wait, really? So Clark just gives up. It sounds like he's just running away from his problems to hide in a cosmic waiting room.
That's exactly what he's doing. Parsons analyzed this psychologically. Clark's ego just couldn't handle reality anymore.
Wow.
The Backrooms become his path of least resistance. It strips away society and leaves him at the root of all architecture, just walls.
That is so tragic.
It is. But it's also deeply relatable, especially in a post-COVID world where isolation became a weird comfort zone for a lot of people.
That perfectly explains the ending with the still lifes.
The malformed reality clones, yeah.
The Backrooms trying to create humans and failing, leaving these blank, fused things, and they become his only company.
It's chilling, and clearly this thematic depth worked because the box office impact was insane.
Oh, totally. It opened at $81.5 million domestically.
The biggest original horror debut ever.
And the biggest opening weekend by a first-time director. And 44% of the audience was under 21.
Gen Z really drove this. They showed up for the digital folklore they helped build.
It's just incredible. But before we go, I want to leave you listening with a thought.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Think about the mundane, liminal spaces you walk through every day. A quiet parking garage, an empty office corridor, a deserted laundromat.
Right.
What if those spaces aren't just empty architecture? What if they're actively absorbing the emotional residue of everyone who passes through?
Just waiting.
Yeah, waiting for the right person to step slightly out of bounds and become part of the architecture themselves?
Well, I'm never looking at an empty hallway the same way again.
And that wraps our descent into Backrooms. If you enjoyed this eerie journey, follow roll credits and share it with your fellow horror fans. We'll be back soon with more trivia, more movie magic, and maybe a few more doors that definitely shouldn't exist. Stay curious.